Do you have any doubts on the previous session? Okay. So today's topic is how we can maintain a logs in the process. What is a logging mechanism? What are the various ways we can maintain a logs? How to check a logs? Those we have maintained in our process. Where it get reflected? What are the types of logs? All those things we will see it in today's session. Okay, let me create one XAML file, a new XAML file. Okay, so when you go to the activities, you'll find an activity, a log message. So log message itself has a log level. It have fatal, error, warning, info and trace. Now it is start from low to high. Low to high means this is the severity is low for this trace, and for fatal the severity is high. Okay, so the trace is having a low severity, then info, then warning, then error, and then fatal is having high severity. It works in that way. Okay, now if I select info, so what I'll do, I am going to write the same workflow name, logs workflow start, and then workflow end. And between this I will write something. Let me drag drop assign activity for now, but with the help of control K I'm creating a variable name and putting a value. I'm also going to print this value with the help of again log message. I will select info here, information, and this is name is, then I will pass a variable. Now when I'm going to run this, you will see it, these logs get reflected in the output panel. Now this first leg you see, use case process execution is started. I have not defined this log. If you see, I have not defined this log. So this is created by UiPath automatically. So the first and the last you see, use case process execution started and use case process execution ended. This is created by the UiPath automatically. We are not creating it. Now the logs that we have maintained here, like the information we have selected here. So you see, this is printing here. Logs workflow start, and then the second log is where I am printing a name, and third is where I am printing. Okay, now this workflow is ended. Now here I have used one of the best practices. What, whenever we create any new XAML file, for now that let's assume I have created for now the log file I have created for now, but let's assume like I have created one child or data scrapping any XAML file. So always try to put a log message in the starting and in the end of the workflows. Now why to do that? Because if something went wrong to any of the workflow, is any system exception occurred, or bot get faulted or stopped in between, anything has happened, so that we can easily figure out, okay, now in this particular XAML file something went wrong. So we can easily check from the logs, okay, it moved to this particular file and it failed or faulted in this particular XAML file or process file. So that's why we put a log in the starting and ending. It comes to the best practices also. Now when you go to the output, you will see a few things are there. This is for error, this is for warning, this is for information, this is for trace. Now this 1 2 3 4, I have already discussed this. Let me show you here as we are covering the logging part. So you see right now all this 4 is highlighting 1 2, just focus on only this 4, ignore these one for now. 1 2 3 4, these 4 is highlighting right now. You see it is in a gray color box. So when I click on it, now you see it will not going to print the errors basically here in the output panel. It will print but it will not show here. Similar way, if I click on it, it will not going to show the warning message. If I click on it, you see it will not going to show me the information message. Now if I click on this, it will not going to show me the trace message. Got it? So by default these all four boxes or logs is automatically as selected. Now we can easily see from here that okay, the information that we are printing here, the log level is information. Why? If you see the box, if you see the box of information, it is showing 5. 5 means 1 2 3 4 5. So this is the log that UiPath is maintaining automatically. This is also info log. This is the info log we are maintaining. This is also info log. This is also info log, and this is also info log. Now what is this? This is basically a trace. This is a trace that UiPath itself is maintaining this trace. You see, if I remove this, it will not show this trace. Now trace is something which comes when you're you're not able to find something from the logs. Okay, what happened to my process? It mostly we figure out from the logs itself. If we are putting a logs in a proper way in the process, we can easily figure out from there. But let's take a worst situation where we are not able to find okay where the issue is. So then we go for the traces actually. So for traces, there is a separate mechanism. We have to enable a tracing through a console. Here you can see the tracing easily, but when you publish this bot and it is running from the cloud or a orchestrator, then in that case you have to enable this tracing from the console basically. And when you enable this, the tracing from the console or CMD command, it will create a new file on the desktop. So that's something which sometimes a UiPath support guy asks for those trace files. When we have something like we are not able to figuring out, sometimes we raise a ticket to support team, UiPath support team, then they always ask for the trace files. Now the trace file is something we have to see it when there is no other option to figure out what is happening in the process, why it is failing, why it is faulted. Okay, so info is clear, right? Okay, now warning is something where the situation when you want to warn like okay we are continuing our bot, but it's a kind of warning. We are going ahead with the warning, because with the warning we can go ahead, right? But with the error we cannot go ahead. So somewhere at some place, if you want to show in the log message the warning, if I let me make it warning, then it will show you in this color, something like orange, or what color is this? So on this color it is showing that this is a warning message. You can easily identify, and you see now in the warning message it is showing 1 count. Okay, similar way, when we use a try catch, let me put this into the try catch block. Okay, when I put this into the try catch block, and let's assume if any errors occur here in this particular assign activity. Now let me generate an error. what I'll do, I'll write down name dot substring 3 to 5, something like that. I'll write down so that it will fail. So it will not find the value on the index 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. I'll write down, let me write down 7. So when you run this, it will come here, then it will come to the next activity, and it will not able to find the basically a substring because the starting index I have given 8. So we don't have a starting index 8 in this string, if you see, because it is 0 1 2 3 4 5, only 5 till the 5 index we have. So it will throw an exception. When it throws an exception, I'll put a log message here, and I'll write down here the error. Exception occurred. Sorry, I have to put plus here. Now what you will see when you run this, it will come here. Let me run it in a debug mode just to see the steps. When you run it, it is coming here and printing the info. Then it is coming here, and then it comes here, and it will say okay, the start index cannot be larger than length of string. Now as exception is occurred, okay, sorry, we have a global handler, you see. So I have used a try catch in this block, but still it is giving priority to the global handler. It is going to the global handler because we have created yesterday, right? So if you are creating a global handler, it always give priority to the global handler. So let me remove the global handler for now, I don't require it. Okay, right now I have removed it. This file is here, but I remove its action, it will not going to use during a run. Now when I debug it again, now if you see, it is coming to the catch block in the exception, and then it will going to show the message that the exception is occurred. This message is printing by this message. Okay, got it. So I am always writing exception dot message. If you see, I am writing always exception dot message. If I write only exception, it will throw an exception because it is an object. So it is having a lot of properties like message. It is having the source, is it is having what is the source of this exception. Okay, so you can have a different properties for this also. The source is ms, something like that. So we can print the message also. If a source, if you want to print, we can print source also. Okay. So far it is clear. Yeah, just give me a minute, I'll take a minute, just give me a minute. Okay, So this error is clear, warning info is clear, right? Now fatal, where do we use fatal? Now fatal is used when we know we cannot recover from this error. It's a critical error. What are those errors? The error is, so when, let's assume there is a one use case where input file is required. When we have input file, only then we should go ahead and run the process. So that is a basically a prerequisite, right? We should have a file always. So in that case, we can say that it's a fatal error because the bot cannot recover from it. Means if we retry also, it will again give the same error, right? Because that is mandatory thing. Now second, let me give you one more example of fatal. Login. If I want to log in with a username and password, and if username and password is wrong, no matter how many times you will retry, 3 times, 4 times, always give okay, username password is incorrect, right? So this also comes to the fatal because we cannot recover from it. So whenever these type of error occurs, you can make it fatal also. And it's not a like a foundation kind of foundation that you have to use a fatal only. If you want to use or you want to display as an error, you can do that. But just for a for a just a learning purpose, as what is a fatal actually, where we can utilize. So these are some of the examples where you can utilize this log level as a fatal instead of error. Got it? Okay. So I am taking a sequence. It will be same in the flowchart also. So there is nothing will be a change there. It will be similar, remains everything will remain same. Only we use a flowchart there. So log message, this thing will be also work similar in every at every place in all XAML files. Okay. Okay. Now let me make it trace and let me remove this for now because I don't want to generate an error. Now now it is taking this in a trace basically. If you see, if I change the scope of it, now I'm making trace, so now it is showing it in trace. So whatever option or log level you select from here, it will basically show it here. Got it? Now this is I am telling you on the studio level. Okay, so then the studio level I am telling you how the logs actually working. Similar way it will work, but the things get changed. How right now we are seeing that okay, the output is printing here in the output panel, but when you run the process from the assistant or from the orchestrator, then you will see the logs reflecting there actually. In orchestrator you will see the logs reflecting there. Okay, this. Okay, so if you see here, okay, wait. So whatever logs we are maintaining here, we there is somewhere it is storing, right? The UiPath is storing somewhere. That's why it is reflecting there. So where it is storing these logs? So it is storing a logs on this location. When you click on the open logs, when you click on the open logs, you will see this in your system also. It will always present there in the app data. You will find it in the app data. If you either you go like this, you click on this, either you go like this, you write down like this temp. When you click on temp, here is somewhere app data is there, I think. or go to the C drive, search. These are the packages. Okay, let's see what is the path. It's an app data, no? App data. So in the users you will find it. C uh, this is the same path. Different, na? It's roaming. It is coming here. Let's come to the temporary file. I have to check it. Okay, I'll check the manual way. I think it is coming in the temp, then app data. It is coming in temp. Okay, okay, yes, yes. So when you write down the temp now and click on it, you come back to this app data. You see in the locals, when you hit on UiPath and when you click the logs, you are able to see here. These are the logs. You see this is a similar path now. Now manually in this way you can navigate to the logs. Why I have told you the manual way? Because when we publish this process to the production, we don't have a studio there, right? We don't have any studio there, so how we will check it? So in this way you can go and check the execution logs if you want to check it from the text file. Now you open and you click on the open, you will see it. There are two files there. This is studio file, database server file, project, another lot of files will be there. You will see it here, but the relevant file for the developer is execution. Here you will see all the logs. Now for now what I'll do, I'll delete it. Let me delete it. Okay, now let me run it. Let me make it for now as a warning. When I run it, it will automatically creates a file again. If you see, the everything is written in a JSON format. Now you see the message is, wherever you see the message na, it's a log message. So use case process execution started. This is one of the message we have. If we check here, this is execution started. This is the similar, right? Use case process execution started. Use case process execution started. This is the first. Okay. Second, you just see the dates. This is the date it printed this message. Now this is the next date. I mean, this is the date will same, the time is changing here. So the message here is log workflow start. This is what we have given, right? Similar way, let's see for the other one. this is log and then you see warning. It is also writing a type. What is it? Now name, it is showing the warning. Now the log type is user, timestamp, finger. These are default thing. Okay, this is, you see, this is, it is taking which is the domain and your machine name. It is taking the domain and the what is your machine. This is the machine name basically. I have machine name, all information it will have. This is a process name. This is a process name. It is taking process name. It is taking from here itself. This is my process name. If you see, it is taking the process name. What is the process version? For me it is 1.0.0, but when you publish it second time, now then it will 2.0.0, not 2 point but 1.0.1. So here it will, you can you also see the versioning also. Okay, job ID is something which is automatically creating. This is a unique number. Now let me delete it again. Let's refresh it. Now other things will remain same. Let's see where I have used the trace. This is the trace I have used. Now that this is the log, the info is changing here. Message is this, name is UiPath, trace is this, and logs, process, job ID, the robot name, machine ID, nation ID. So this is little difficult to understand, okay, what is happening sometimes, because when there are a lot of logs. So generally we see it here when we are not able to find logs in Orchestrator. Sometimes it happens when there are a lot of logs. It happens very rarely because mainly we find it in Orchestrator in a very neat and clean way. But for as a developer, we should know like if how to basically where it is storing and how we can see the information, what information it is storing. Okay, so this is the execution file. You have to look always. Got it? Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll create one more file. Create one more sequence, logs. I'll write down log invoke. Okay, and here in the arguments I will pass a name basically. So I'll make a direction as in, and then I am going to use this and append something to it. Let me append, and after that what I'll do, I am going to print a log message. So first I am going to print the workflow name. Okay, this is start, this is here, it is ending. Okay, also I am going to print the name, a new name which is created. So I'll write down new last name appended is in name. So far it is clear, right? I have just created a new file and there I have put just a log message to know that the bot is just entering to the start and is coming out with the end log message. And I have created an argument as an indirection because I want to pass this name from the other file, from the parent file, and then I'm appending to the existing value. So here what I can do, instead of writing hard coded, what I'll do, I can also write like this, in underscore name, and then I'm assigning back to the this file. Now either you assign back to this, or you can create a new variable also, like this full name. If you want to use, you can do that also. Okay, it is not yet created, that's why it is creating a problem. Let me create it again. And then instead of this, what I can do, I can also write full name, because I don't want this value to be come back to the parent, right? I just want only to reflect it here, that's it. So I created a variable, appended the value from the in argument, and just showing it here. Now if I am going to invoke this workflow, I've told you already how to invoke it. To invoke, yes, to I have to use invoke workflow. Either you use invoke workflow, or second way to use it is, so this is the file I'll want to invoke, right? Just drag drop here like this. I'm removing this for now. Okay, got it. Now this is orange. Why? Because I have created some argument here in the log invoke, but I have not used it, that's why it is orange. So I have to click import arguments, and then I have to pass a name here. Okay, now it is clear. Okay, now let me run it in a debug mode, so we can see the log messages. Just why I have created this, just to know what is the benefit of logs. So it is started. Okay, it is now, you see this, a lot of information is printing. You see logs executing, sequence executing, try catch executing logs. Why? Because I have logging the trails basically. Let's wait, give me a minute. I'll tell you the benefit of this also. For now I have disabled these options. Okay, so I am running it again. Now this will be more neat. You see it is only printing those message which we have defined. It is not any printing a default messages. Now it will go inside, and we can easily see, okay, now logs workflow start, and after that log invoke workflow start. Okay, it is invoked into this, that's why right now it is both the places it is start, then it is moving and printing the last name appended is UiPath tutorials. Then this is end, log info workflow is end, and it is coming out, and now it is also ending this parent workflow. This is clear. Now if I use a log activities, and let me delete this and debug it. Now you see I am on a log message right now, but a lot of things get printed here. Logs executing, sequence executing, try catch executing. Now it is also giving some more information. It is giving me, okay, this logs, this sequence is executing basically. Okay, the try catch is executing. It is giving all the information. Now when I click step into, it is printing the info also, but you see this information is also printing. But what is this information which is printing automatically? This is basically nothing but a traces. So traces, that's why I told you that if your logs is not maintained properly, some developers don't have a habit to maintain a good logging mechanism. We all know, like if somebody has created a process, if he has not put a good logs there, a good mechanism, like he has not used the best practices to put a logs, then that's a problem to find out, okay, what is the issue, right? It happens to every developer in every tool. So in that case, we go with the tracing options. Now you see it is automatically giving this information. I am not printing it, because the you see the tracing is activated here. I have clicked on it, log activities and logging a lot of information, which is means it is putting every information in a trace. It is actually tracing, okay, what basically the what is executing. Is it executing try catch? Is executing, you see try catch is executing, logs is executing. It is also informing that logs is executing. Now this is our message that we have given it. Rest information is of basically the traces. Okay. Now for now I'll disable this because it creates a lot of logs. Now, okay, now this is like this is enough to for the implementation. If you are implementing some process, uh, to know about the logs, this is enough. But let me tell you some more things just for a learning purpose. So you see this, when you invoke some workflow, this is only in the case of invoke, so don't get confused. Like, so this is always in the case of invoke, when we are invoking any new workflow or a new XAML file. When you go to the properties, now when you go to the properties, you will see here some of the properties. It is saying log entry, log exit, and log level. Okay, now when you click on this, it is asking, okay, no, only invocation or with arguments. Let's, no is a fine, like no if I don't want to use this log entry or log exist. Now what I'll do, I'm going to remove this from here. When I remove it from there, now if I run this, you will see only the two logs will be printed saying, okay, this log workflow is start and log workflow end. Now this thing is printed, but I don't know from which workflow it is printing, right? Because I removed the logs from there. Now in the property there is other option. When you use this second option, and similar in the log exit also, if I'm using this only successful return, what this will do, let me run it. When you go to the output, now you see log flows, this is our message, we have defined it, right? Now it automatically creates a log message for you saying that invoking workflow file beginners log invoke XAML started. This is the file, right? Beginner log, and it automatically printing it. It's so it's all up to you. If you want to give your message, if you don't want to give your message, you just need to click on those options. It automatically creates a logs for you. Now that's a proper logs in the, it comes in the information. You see, it is comes in the information, not in a trace. It is coming in information. It is saying it is started, and it is also saying that it is ended. Okay, so this is, you see, only successful return. So because if any exception occurred, definitely it will not come to the end, right? So it will not going to print the last message if in between something happen. So that's why they have used only successful return. If no exception is occurred in that particular XAML file, then it will come with a successful return. Now there is one more option, you see, with arguments. Let's select this, with arguments. Now what is this with arguments? If I run this again, you see it is printing the message, but it is also printing the information of arguments, that what value it is actually taking to the other workflow. Got it? Now something, it sometimes it happens like we want to see, this is just for a testing purpose, because unnecessary we don't want to show these type of logs in our in execution file or a log file, right? Because otherwise we don't need to like put every information, what is coming, what is going. Only the relevant information should be there, because that comes to the previous year's security of the client data, right? But it's for testing. Sometimes I want to see, okay, what values it is taking to the other workflow, and you can just see, check this also. Now why it is having empty, you see, now your in and out confusion will also be get cleared. How? When it is showing a value here from this on the starting line, that means you are passing something to it. So that's why it is showing that in name is having UiPath, right? But when it is coming out from this workflow, when it is coming out from log invoke workflow, we are not having any out value, right? So that's why it is empty. We are not taking out anything from it, so that's why it is an empty. Now if I make it in out, what will happen in that case? Hmm. Let's see it. Now at both the places it is showing because this is in and this is out. Okay, so it's, you are free to use anything. You can use your long message, or you can directly use this one directly. You don't need to write everywhere as start and end. Okay, so far it is clear. Like, now you see here, this we called it assistant. Orchestrator and this we, I'll come later. This part only I'm showing the logs. So for now I'll show you in another session about this assistant and orchestrator thing. But for now, let's remember these steps. You have to go to the preferences. Okay, you have to go to the orchestrator settings. Now you see the log level. Here is information. Now from here also you can change the log level. Now here you can change the log level also. If you want the warning, error or critical errors, so you can change here the log level that you want to be implemented here. Okay, now uh, let me I was showing something to you. Let me create a one new process because it have a lot of files. Let me create a fresh process. I'll show you how basically it is maintaining there from there. So uh, do you know about assistant or orchestrator? Do you know how to publish the process, how we can run all those things, you know, or you don't know? You don't know? Okay, okay, you don't know, no? Okay, so because at least you should know the things, no, how it is. So let me create it because anyways we have that session. We will do it on Orchestrator. We can see that later. Mm, test logs. Mm, okay, let me put one log message here. What I'll do, I'll put information first. Okay. Now what I'll do, I am for now publish it. When I have to hit here to publish any process, it is showing me new version. Okay, on which version I am publishing, and publishing option is saying okay, you want to publish in orchestrator or you want to publish custom wise? For now, Orchestrator I am publishing. We'll see it in a deeply, but just I'm publishing it just to show you something on logs only. We'll see it later on. Okay, if you see here, let me refresh it. What I'll do from the assist, so from studio we have checked the logging, right? How the logging works, where is it is storing the logs, all those things we have seen from the studio. But when we develop something in studio, we have to run it from somewhere, right? So for now, what I have done, I published this process and I have put it into the orchestrator, and then I'm running it from the assistant for now. Assistant, I'm running it. Assistant is nothing but to run the process in attendant mode. Okay, we are running it in attendant mode just to see, okay, what is exactly is how it is running actually the process is. You will see it now. When I click on the run button, you will see the process is started. Okay, in jobs you see one entry, you see here it was automatically came, and it is saying the job type is basically attendant. Okay, run type is RP developer. Okay, and it is success. Now if I see the logs, you see it is started. I'll told you this is information which is what is automatically printing, right? Means it is automatically taking, and you see the this log message is printing here. So this is more neat and clean to see it here. We don't need to open the execution file. Now we can see it from there. Okay, this is my log info is printed here on this time. Now what I'll do, I will make it error occurred, and I'll publish it again. As I publish now, the version is 2 basically, so I have to utilize that version. For now, just focus on the logging part only. You will see all these things in other sessions. Now I am going to, you see this installation thing is coming, so let me install it because a new package is published. Now let me run it again. So it ran, it is a few seconds ago. You see error occurred. Now it is showing the message and the log level is error. Got it? In this way it is showing in the orchestrator these logs. And let me change the log level type here. What I do, this is right now is information. This is right now is information, right? If I select this as a critical, if you select it as a critical, and then if I run it, now you see, let me open it again. A few seconds ago it happened, right? Now you see in the view logs, this nothing is displayed. Why? Why this is not display? Because when I go to settings, you see I have selected critical. This is very important, right? If I have selected critical, you see below the critical there are no logs. So if I select a critical, it will only take a critical messages, only critical messages. So but I have defined the error, so it is not taking the error because the error is above it, right? If I select a error here, if I select a error here, and if I having critical messages, it will show those. If I select a warning, it will show all error and critical message. If I select information, it will going to show all information, warning, error and critical. Got it? If I select trace, it will show all the message of information, warning, error and critical. Okay, let me give you one more example. Let's me select a warning. If I select a warning, it will not show the information, trace and verbose, but it will show only warning, error and critical messages. Got it? So this is how it works. If I select a warning, and if you have put the information there and expecting okay the information should be print, it will not happen, it will not going to print it. So if I am going to give a warning here, sorry, information, my info, and if I publish it again, okay, now let me run it again. For now I'm selecting warning, I am selecting warning, but I want to display a info message. It ran. Let me see the jobs. Now it is not displaying, right? So always remember, if you want to display something, you have to choose a correct thing. So by default it is always information. So I have selected warning, but I want the logs to be shown as information, but it cannot be shown because here when you select warning, only error, critical and warning will be show here. Got it? So for that, if I selected information, the trace, you will not be able to see the traces also. But if you select verbose, then you will see every log message to be reflected. So if I select verbose, you will see all error, everything will be going to show. If I run this again, now you see it is showing everything, even it is showing trace also. You see these are the traces, these are the traces it is showing. So if you want to maintain a traces also, you have to choose an option in assistant trace or a verbose. Okay, 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 then this is it for today's session, and we'll see something as in the tomorrow session. Do you have any doubts so far? Okay, thank you.